Welcome back to the Fans Only podcast. Today we're going to be having the impossible debate of who is the best sports person from any sport of all time.
We are.
Yes.
I don't really know how we're going to decide this, but
I think
we've
there's a
basically
couple-
we've put together like a rough list of 15 people. We might mention some
Yeah.
more too, I'm not sure. And then we're going to try and decide the top 3 at the end.
Yes. We're going to try and do it on a number of factors, I'd say.
Yeah,
Like, I don't. Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, let's just get into it. But there's a number of factors.
Okay.
Right.
So, first person I want to talk about plays golf.
Yes. Well, that needs no introduction. Tiger Woods, right? Now, Tiger Woods, 15 major championships. Admittedly, it's not the most by a golfer ever. However,
Who has the most? I do not
I believe,
know.
I believe it's Jack Nicklaus. I think he's got 18.
Right.
And him and Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods are usually the two that people come up with that are the best, basically. However, the reason why I'm mentioning Tiger Woods and not Jack Nicklaus is for mainly the reason that Danny's just demonstrated there. Everyone knows who Tiger Woods is.
Yeah.
Not many people know who Jack Nicklaus is. And I think that's relevant.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing is Tiger Woods' dominance over the game of golf is unmatched by anyone. Between 1997, which was when he turned pro,
Yeah.
and 2005, he was unreal. For example, 1997, his first major tournament of any kind was the Masters. He set the record for the lowest score. He set the record for the biggest margin of victory. He was the youngest winner, and he's the only person ever to win a major at his first attempt.
Okay. He's I would say he's the only, maybe Rory McIlroy is the only like household name of like all golfers.
Some other mental stats. He was the second player after Jack Nicklaus to have won all 4 majors 3 times. He's the only player to have ever won all 4 majors in a row and held them at the same time. He holds the biggest margin of victory at 3 of the 4 of them. He's the only person to have won all 4 by at least 5.
Do you think he had some like scandals, didn't he? Did he like abuse his wife or cheat on his wife? I can't remember.
Yes, he's had domestic abuse scandals. I think he ran someone over with his car while drunk driving or something.
Do you think that comes
He's had a
into
few
it?
scandals. Yeah, I think it
Like,
does. I
if
think
we're
it's
talking
quite a
best
bit of a-
sports player, person, whatever, however you want to call it, ever.
Yeah,
I know it's not
Yeah,
directly playing the
I would
sport,
say-
but
I would say it does. When we're talking about the best of any sport ever,
their impact
I
has
would
to
say-
come into it.
there are some aspects that we need to talk about that aren't, because like all of these people arguably are the best at their sport ever. So we
Yeah.
need some way of separating
Comparing,
yeah. And Tiger Woods has his out of sport what's the word? Problems, issues,
yeah.
controversies. That's the word I was looking for. And also, he's not. I would say his longevity has been a bit hampered. He got injured in his prime and never quite reached the same height again. However, it is worth mentioning that he holds the record for the longest consecutive time at number 1 and the longest total amount of time at number 1. Throughout his career, he has spent a total of 12 years at number 1.
thing is that we clearly know he's the greatest golfer of all time. So like all these
Yeah,
stats and stuff, like they're
yeah,
all well and good, but you can't compare that to someone else from another sport.
yeah.
But like without him, golf would not be where it is today.
Oh yeah, like there is a reason. Like I've brought this up to. I'm sure I said this to you before. Like there is a reason why golf games were called Tiger Woods PGA Tour or whatever, right?
Yeah,
He almost, he was bigger than golf at a time, really.
yeah. I
In the
don't
same
know,
way,
but did he like bring it
in,
more mainstream?
um, I I would
It,
think so. Obviously, he was winning major tournaments before we were born.
yeah,
However,
obviously.
he was when we were growing up. He was the guy. He was the guy, and everyone had heard of him, regardless of whether or not you'd ever watched a golf tournament.
I never watch golf.
But you've heard of Tiger Woods,
Yeah, of
exactly,
course.
right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think all of these people have almost become bigger than their sport. People that you've heard of, even if you've ever watched the sport.
I would. They are. I think they all are like household names. Everyone's heard of them. Everyone knows. I just
Yeah,
fuck knows how you're meant to separate them.
yeah,
But yeah, Tiger Woods definitely up there. I think.
yeah.
I don't really
Who's
think there's
next?
anything else to say on him. Next is this list, by the way, is just random. Like we've just randomized the people. It's not in any
Oh,
order
it's
of
not in any order, no.
who's the
No.
best. No, not necessarily. Anyway, Michael Phelps, American
Right.
swimmer, obviously.
Now, Michael Phelps, I've got a couple of stats here for him as well. Right. So obviously, everyone knows he won the 8 gold medals in 2008. Most gold medals by anyone in one Olympics. He won, I believe, 22 gold medals, or was it
Yeah,
23?
it's something like that. Something daft.
Yeah. He won 23 gold medals and 28 of any colour.
Yeah,
23 golds. Um,
it's a lot.
at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, which arguably, but not arguably, I think, was supposed to be his final swan song into retirement, whatever, right? He won 5 gold medals and 1 silver.
Fuck
And that
me.
made him the most successful athlete at the Games for the 4th Olympic Games in a row.
Jesus Christ.
He set throughout his career, in obviously different, like some of them were obviously been in the same event. However,
Yeah.
he set 39 world records,
Fuck me.
29 individual, 10 in the relay. It's more than any other swimmer has ever had.
As I say with Tiger, he's clearly the best swimmer. I don't think there's any debate there.
It's
But all time, I guess like athletically, he's obviously unreal. Winning that many golds at an Olympics is a joke.
yeah. That is just a fucking. That's a joke.
I just, do you
39
think?
gold record.
Do you think
World
he's had
records.
like the reach or like the impact on other? I guess he probably did a lot for swimming. I don't really know. Like
I think in America,
maybe bigger in
he's got a
America.
lot. He's got a lot of. I think in America he is. For anyone that watches the Olympics in America, he's going to be the guy, or at least,
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
yeah, I'd imagine so. Everyone, like the only criticism I've ever heard of Michael Phelps is if you take in part in enough events, you are going to win a lot of gold medals. Because at the end of the day, other Olympians, and this has been the criticism of other swimmers as well, it's not just Michael Phelps, but
Yeah.
other Olympians don't have the opportunity to
Yeah, of
take part
course.
in 8 different events.
Of course.
But it's still fucking impressive.
It's not his fault. But yeah,
Yeah.
it like you can't compare him to like like other Olympians. You compare him to swimmers, but you can't compare him to the people that do one event every 4 years or two events
Yeah.
every 4 years because like they just don't
Yeah.
get the opportunity.
Yeah. But just like it's 8 gold medals in one Olympics, 23 overall, 39 gold records,
Gold
world
records.
records.
How many
That's
world
insane.
records?
39.
What? In
39
what?
in all of his different races.
That is
In fact,
ridiculous.
it actually, fuck me. Right, so he's set, like it shows you like how many he set. Like it shows you the date he set them. Right,
Mm.
he set in 2003. He set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 within the space of 2 weeks.
Fucking hell. Right. I think. Right. He's clearly like a freak.
Oh
And
no, even better, even better. 1, 2, right. So in the Beijing Olympics, between August 10th and August 17th, he set 7 world records. That's
Right.
one a day. One a day
sake,
for a
man.
week. That's insane.
Some week.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think that he's obviously unreal, but I don't think he's gonna get in like a top like 5, even 10 maybe. For me anyway.
Oh, he's definitely top 10. Surely.
Well, I don't know. Like there's some big names. I think just
There are some
personally, he
big
maybe
names.
is, but I think like if we were going like athletes or something, sports athletes, he'd definitely be up there. But I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll move on to the next one, who is someone I know absolutely piss all about. Michael Schumacher.
Michael Schumacher.
Did he nearly
Right.
die? Is he the one that nearly died?
Yes, he went on skiing and
He went on skiing.
crashed. He went skiing and crashed and
Is he in a coma for like?
still. I believe he is, yes.
Fuck, that was years ago.
Yes, yes.
Anyway.
So, right. We'll just get into
Explain,
it. Right.
explain to me why he is in the conversation. I'm assuming he's the
So-
best F1 driver.
Well, there's debates. There's debates to be had around that. But obviously he's one of them, right? He's won the F1 World Championship 7 times. That's
Right.
joint with Lewis Hamilton,
Mm,
right? Obviously Lewis Hamilton could be in the conversation as well,
yeah.
technically. I think Michael Schumacher was a little bit more dominant. He holds the record for most championships. He won 5 of them consecutively between 2000 and 2004.
Mm,
He also has the earliest win in a season. He won the 2002 World Championship with 6 races to spare.
yeah.
Holds the record for the most wins in a season, most consecutive seasons with a win, most consecutive top 2s, most consecutive podiums, most fastest laps, most, right? And the other thing is, when you look at Hamilton, the criticism is won 7 world titles. He won one of them at McLaren, who at the time were one of the best.
Yeah.
And then he went to Mercedes and won 6 more. And they've been the best for...
How's that criticism?
Because it's like, if you win the Drivers' Championship with a worse team, you know, a worse car,
Yeah.
then you're going to be a bit more praised. And that's kind of what Schumacher did. So Schumacher won
Right.
his first 2 titles in a Benetton.
Never heard
Right.
of them.
Exactly.
My
They
F1
actually-
knowledge is piss poor.
I believe they make jumpers.
Jumpers.
Yeah, or clothes or something. They're not a F1 team
Specifically
anymore.
jumpers.
However, right, So he won the world title in 1994 and 95 with them. They
Yeah.
only won the Constructors' Championship in 1995. So in 1994, they weren't the best car, but he won the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah.
And in
Okay.
1995, right? Whereas I believe, every year Lewis Hamilton has won the Drivers' Championship, bar the first one he did at McLaren. So all of the ones he's done at Mercedes, they have won the Constructors' Championship for the best car as well.
Right. So, I,
So,
I can see why you think he's better than Hamilton, but like
well, the reason why
comparing
he's better
him.
than all of the rest of them is like because he's won the most.
What about no? But what about on
He's
this list? Sports people.
um.
Like I know
So
you've told me why he's a better F1 driver.
I just don't. I don't think. I just think. Well, obviously he's got to be up there because of the like winning 5 world championships in a row.
Yeah, you don't see that in many sports.
You don't see that a lot. The other thing is like the consistency. Like he, I think it's 30. Was it 13? No, 15. 15 consecutive seasons winning a race. That's not done a lot. Also, he came back after his retirement to race for Mercedes, and he
Yeah.
did okay in a not very good Mercedes car. This was the Mercedes before Hamilton started racing for them. It was not a very good car. And he did all right with them. He also, I believe, is the only driver ever, and this sounds absolutely mental in my head, he's the only driver ever to finish every race of a season on the podium.
How many races do they do in a season?
So it was 2002, and in the 2002 season, he
Just like roughly, I'm honestly clueless.
17,
Oof.
and he finished. So he won, I believe. He won 11 of them, came second in 5 and third in the other.
Christ. All right.
That's
Well,
insane.
I feel like he's kind of similar to the other two. Like for me, when I don't really care about the sport, I can appreciate how good they are, but I don't know. It just doesn't like affect me like on a personal level like some of the others.
Yeah, yeah.
But all right, we'll move on to a different sport now because I'm bored
Okay.
of F1.
Okay.
Boxing. Got Muhammad Ali,
Yes.
obviously always on these lists for good reason.
Well, Muhammad Ali, 3-time, I believe, world champion
Yeah.
at heavyweight. Um, I mean, what can you say about Muhammad Ali?
And
Like,
I feel like I should know more about him than I do.
so
Like his life outside of boxing. Obviously, I know he was like had like a massive
I would
cultural
say,
impact,
yeah. So
like social justice and stuff.
yes, and there's all of that, and well, right. So first of all, boxing record, 56 wins, 5 losses, which is very good, right?
It's good. It's not like the best there is.
It's not, it's not the best, but it is good. He also won an Olympic gold medal, which
Yeah.
the other person we're going to mention did not.
Mm.
Um, Also, there is um, it's arguable that Muhammad Ali was in an era where they had a lot more competition, and a lot of the
Yeah,
fighters that
100%.
Muhammad Ali fought are considered some of the best of all
So
time, i.e.,
I'm looking at his losses, right? He had a 15-round unanimous decision points loss to Joe Frazier,
yeah,
who was obviously one of the all-time greats. He lost to Ken Norton, Leon Spinks, Larry Holmes, and I don't know who Trevor Berbick is. Probably should, but they were his. So he was losing to like good fighters, obviously.
um, Hang on, I've just seen this. Did he have a boxing match with Wilt Chamberlain?
What? That rings a bell for some weird reason. Wilt Chamberlain being an NBA player.
No, right. So they agreed to a fight, and they. It seems like what happened is Wilt Chamberlain challenged Muhammad Ali to a fight, and then Muhammad Ali seems to have sort of influenced him by talking, which was what Muhammad Ali was good at. He was good at selling fights and talking shit, right?
Yeah.
And Wilt Chamberlain pulled out of the fight.
Bloody surprised. But yeah, anyway,
But then again, even then, like, you can go on about some of the stuff that why am I talking about Muhammad Ali? You can argue, like, Muhammad Ali, some of the quotes that people use in everyday life of what Muhammad Ali said. The most famous of being, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Right? Like, how do you just come up with shit like that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
But I just, he is unbelievable.
His impact was a joke.
His impact
on the list so far, no one else come close.
No one else has had the impact.
I don't think anyone will come close.
So he remains the only 3-time lineal heavyweight champion. He's the only boxer to be named. The ring. The other belt that Tyson Fury's got.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he was named their Fighter of the Year 6 times. He's the only person to do that. He's got more Fight of the Year bouts than any other fighter.
Yeah.
It's.
I think it's. Everyone knows he's clearly in the.
Yeah.
The conversation, despite not having the best record. It's still obviously an unbelievable record, but.
Yeah. And I just think he's had a lot bigger impact on people. He's had a bigger impact on more people than I would argue most of the names in this list. I think that's a fair statement.
Well, he was proper I think of it after Martin Luther King, he was
oh yeah,
big on all that Black Power and stuff like that, and all that shit. I don't really know exactly what he did, to be honest. But you hear about it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other boxers, though, talking about his record not being perfect. Someone's that was perfect until he lost to Logan Paul.
No. We're not
Floyd
saying
Mayweather.
This. No.
Floyd Mayweather. 50-1.
Floyd Mayweather, 50-0.
One.
And as I said before, didn't win an Olympic gold medal. He won an Olympic bronze medal. But again, some of the people he has fought, not as impressive as Muhammad Ali, I would argue.
He never fought Logan Paul.
So obviously it was Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, but that fight was way too late.
Still fought Manny Pacquiao. Still fought Ricky Hatton. Still
Canelo
fought
Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez.
He was very young. Oh, he's got some impressive fights, and I'd never really watched that much of him until I was gonna watch the Logan Paul fight, and I went and watched a highlight reel of his, and he was fucking class. Obviously, you don't go 50-0 without being class, but
yeah. And then obviously his 50th win, because technically he retired with 49 wins.
McGregor.
And he came back for his 50th win against Conor McGregor, and he earned $300 million for that fight.
Fuck's sake. Honestly, it's horrible. That was a shit show as well.
In my opinion, not as good as Muhammad Ali.
No, but it's just that perfect record, isn't it? Like,
It is the perfect record, yeah. It is gonna help him.
does anyone else have? I know Tyson Fury hasn't lost. He's drawn though. Has he got? Is there anyone else who had a perfect record? I don't know.
Let me have a look. I
I
believe
don't.
there is one.
Either way, like if you go your entire career in a sport without ever losing or drawing, I think you've got to be in the consideration for greatest
So there is a
sports
few.
person of all time.
There is a few.
Is there any that I've heard of?
Yes. Uh, Joe Calzaghe.
Oh, he
Joe Calzaghe was 46 and 0.
he won Sports Personality of the Year, didn't he once?
I think so. Yeah, he was
I remember
British. Yeah,
seeing that. Yeah.
he was 46 and 0 when he retired.
All right. Yeah. So
21 title defenses.
I feel like there's a lot of boxers you could throw into the mix for like best boxer, but if you're looking at
For me, it's Muhammad Ali. It's got to be.
I think Muhammad Ali, people make a case for Mayweather, but like he's a prick and everyone hates him, so I just can't see him.
Muhammad Ali on this list. If we're going into other aspects, he is the guy. Right.
He's definitely going to be right up there on the list for sure. Like
Yeah.
Mayweather's probably going to be near the
Put it
bottom.
this way: if we're going to slag off Tiger Woods for having external controversies, then Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather needs to be subject to the same
Yeah, of
criticism.
course. Yeah,
So yeah.
literally. But anyway,
Um,
move on to the next one. Usain Bolt, obviously fastest man on the planet.
Usain Bolt, fastest
There's
man
not
on the
much to
planet,
say really.
fastest man ever,
The
technically. Although
100,
there is
200
some,
world record.
yeah. I believe he also holds. Well, his team also holds the world record for the 4x100, I believe.
Yeah,
Although they might not. Don't quote me on that.
and he did it all eating
Um,
McDonald's. Not really.
yeah,
Not
he won the
didn't look like he was
2008.
trying.
He won the 2008 Olympic gold medal after eating like 40 chicken nuggets and then won it with his shoelaces untied, which
Yeah,
is insane. um,
yeah. I think like impact wise, like he has had a big impact. I would say like
all I'm gonna say, right, is I don't know about you, but for people our age, I believe Usain Bolt was the guy. Usain Bolt, after he won the 2008 Olympic gold medals, he was I would argue he was the most famous man on the planet.
feel like yeah. When he was like prime, when he just broke that world record, and then the next
Yeah.
Olympic, like everyone loved him.
He was the guy. He was. There must be, honestly, after he won the 2008, every fucking kid between the ages of like 4 and 5 to up to I'd say about 18, at some point after 2008 up to 2012, they must have wanted to be Usain Bolt. Easily.
It's just
Like,
everything about him,
he
like
was-
his name, just
He was so good, and he won everything.
and he was so likable as well, so
Yeah.
likable, and he probably has. There will have been a lot more people get into athletics, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely a worthy name on the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know how high. Like at the end of the day, he just runs in a line fast. Like
Sometimes he runs around a corner.
oh, yeah, like
No, right. So, 8-time Olympic gold medalist. He's the only sprinter
Should be
to win the 100 and 200 at 3 consecutive Olympics.
I'm not arguing. He's clear. Like I know he's the best sprinter of all time. I'm just on about for this list. I don't
Yeah.
think he can get too high. Like middle of the list ish, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
move on
I'd-
to the next couple, well, the next one is American football, Tom Brady. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really watch American football. I find it fairly boring.
Right. So Tom
But I
Brady.
obviously know how insane he is. Like he's like 900 years old and he's still winning.
He's 43 now. Just won his seventh Super Bowl.
Mental.
Not only that, he was actually Super Bowl MVP as well. For
Fucking
the fifth
ridiculous.
time. He's three-time MVP for the season, two-time Offensive Player of the Year.
What draft pick was
His
he?
stats are. He was in the sixth round. He was pick 199.
That's ridiculous.
Um, he he's the oldest player to be named Super Bowl MVP and win a Super Bowl as the starting quarterback.
Fucking hell.
3
Yeah.
years before that, he was the oldest MVP. Full stop. Not Super Bowl. Full
Does he
full
have?
NFL MVP at
Does
40. He was 40, and he won the whole MVP for the whole season. Right?
Jesus Christ. I don't know if there's any other NFL players that come close. There maybe is, but he is.
Not for me. Like I obviously to me there's a like I don't I've heard of a couple that people put up there, but 7 Super Bowls.
I don't know. It is ridiculous, and the fact he's going to be playing the next season, isn't he? He's still playing.
He could be, yeah, I
He's
think so.
43. Just
43,
retire,
yeah. Why? He's
oh,
clearly still got it.
I guess. I guess. Like
Like,
people always point out in like football about like how insane it is players like Ronaldo and Ibrahimovic, and in basketball like LeBron, like they're like mid to late 30s, and everyone's like how
yeah,
insane it
this
is they're
guy's
still at the top. He's
43.
43.
43. Yeah.
Absolute insane. Um, yeah, I
And
mean,
like
I guess if
it's
I
not like
liked the sport, I would appreciate it more. But
the other thing is, um, the other thing is like he played every game.
yeah,
He didn't like get shielded or anything. He played every single game. Every game in the regular season, every game in the playoffs and the Super Bowl.
I guess is it like for him at quarterback? Is it like physically less taxing than like
Um,
playing in like 90 minutes of football every 4 days?
I guess, but it's like everyone is coming for you.
Yeah, I get that, like, but is he getting like clarted every possession
Well,
or
I
what? Like,
imagine,
he
I
won't be, will
imagine
he?
he won't be getting clattered every possession, but he will be getting hit a few times. I
Yeah,
imagine. But
yeah,
like, he's got to be up there. Like,
yeah. Oh,
okay,
for
I say
sure.
got to be up there. I don't think he's top five, but I'd say he's probably in
No.
the top 10.
Yeah, he's like, I'd say, but his story, the fact he was such a low pick, and
Yeah,
he's come up
and
and he's just won so consistently.
17 division titles, 13 AFC Championship games, which is the game before the Super Bowl. It's kind of like the East and West Conference in the NBA.
Yeah.
9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 with the Patriots, and obviously he's got his 7th with the Buccaneers.
All right.
So he's appeared in 10 Super Bowls and won 7 of them.
Christ. Well, the next name is from a sport I've seen even less of.
Ice hockey, I believe.
Ice hockey. Wayne
Right.
Gretzky. I've obviously
So,
heard of him, and like I'm aware he's like insane, but
yes. So the reason I have put Wayne Gretzky on the list is purely down to the amount of records he holds
mm,
in ice hockey. Like,
give me a few of the big
so,
ones.
okay. He's got the most goals ever. He's
Yeah.
also got the most assists ever. He's
All
the
right.
top 2 in most goals in a season. He's also the top 2 in the most assists in a
What's
season.
he won?
Um, I will have a look now, see um, titles he's won, because I'm not sure of the amount. Right, we'll come back to that.
Okay. Like
No,
How do
right. So his nick
you've got to win, haven't
is
you, to be up there?
yeah. I'm sure he's won stuff. He must have won because his teammates are all like in the records as well.
Right. So
Right.
he's clearly the
Let me
best
have a
individual. I feel like if you want to be one of the best sports players of all time, you've got to have been dominant, winning in your sport first, and like surely.
Okay, right. Um, Let me have a look. Why doesn't it show his team records? Like, surely.
What do we, is the
Oh, here we
NH?
go. Here we go.
What?
Here we go. Right. So he won. Uh, oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, go
He
on.
won nine. Like, so basically, the NHL MVP, he won nine of them, and eight
Bloody
of them
hell!
were consecutive years. Right?
Fucking hell!
Jesus Christ. He won. That's technically not him. It says he's won Olympic gold, but it says as executive director manager, so I wouldn't say that was
No.
him. He won 4 Stanley Cups,
Yeah.
which is so yes, yes,
So he won a decent amount then.
yeah.
Okay.
He's his jersey number was 99, and every single team in the league has retired it.
Fucking hell.
Um, honestly, it's like
So he's just
five.
he's clearly like unbelievable. I think if the sport was bigger, he'd definitely
So
be top like five or so. But
right,
I don't
so
know.
um, so there's a thing in the NHL called 50 and 50, which is when you score 50 goals in the first 50 games of the league.
Yeah.
Right, very rare achievement. It's only happened 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Okay.
Right, Wayne Gretzky's 3 of them, 2 of which he scored 60.
Yeah.
No one else has ever scored 60.
I get
Just
it.
him.
I get it. He's like I think it's pretty obvious he's the best of that
He is
sport.
he is the best ever, and there's no close second. He's the guy.
Yeah.
But
Clearly.
for other things, I would say not as well known, not as
I was
big a
gonna
name,
say
so
like
arguably not as high up the list.
I'd say
But I would argue
not
just
many
as good
people
at his sport
as anyone probably.
as any of these people on this list.
Yeah, but he's like would you say the average person's heard of him? I don't think they have.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I'd say the average person
I'd
will.
barely heard of him, and I think I'm a reasonable sports fan.
Yeah, yeah,
So I don't know. Like clearly unreal, but
yeah.
doesn't have the reach. But speaking of having the reach and everyone fucking knowing you are, next on we're going to a sport like that's actually good now. Messi.
Lionel Messi.
I don't really know how
Right.
much needs to be said. Like he's clearly
Just
a
throw some
joke.
stats out there, Danny.
A few stats. Well, obviously he's got 6 Ballon d'Ors, probably going to be 7, which is the most. The only person that's close is Ronaldo. 929 games. He's got 748 goals, 315 assists, which he's going to end his career with there or thereabouts most goals and most assists. He'll probably have the most club trophies. He's already got 34. I think Dani Alves has like 38 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's probably going to have that. He's won with Argentina. He's not won the World Cup, obviously, but he won the Copa America this year, which a lot of people were holding him against him. I don't know. I think
an Olympic gold medal.
Olympic gold medal. Yeah, I think like there's obviously the argument for who's the greatest footballer of all time, and like we don't need to get into that here, but I think we both agree that he is.
Yes.
And if you're looking like in the overall debate here, football is like the biggest sport in the world. It's the most viewed sport in the world,
Yeah.
like quite comfortably. Like you see, like the Super Bowl views compared to like the World Cup final views. It's a joke. Like I think the
Yeah.
Super Bowl gets like 20 mil, maybe 30 mil, no,
Oh,
maybe
right.
more, maybe like 100 mil. But the World Cup final gets like over 1 billion views. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. So like the sport's massive. He's obviously him and Ronaldo, like the followers they have and like the reach they have. He got the
Yeah.
biggest contract in sports history by a fucking mile. Like I just think
Yeah.
he's in the biggest sport. And fuck the stat. Just if you know football and you watch him, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think
The only other person you could like, well, there's a few names you could put up there as the best footballers of all time. The three that are most commonly put up there: Pele, Diego Maradona, and Cristiano Ronaldo.
yeah.
Um, Cristiano Ronaldo, highest scorer of all time in basically everything he's ever played in.
I just think
I say basically. um, he's the highest scorer in the Champions League. He's the highest scorer in the Euros. Highest scorer for Real Madrid. He's only person to score 100 goals for in three different leagues. He's
I feel like this is like a
ridiculous, right?
the debate. The debates are there for greatest football of all time, but like I don't really
Pele,
see the debate with like
Pele's
Messi
won
and
three
Ronaldo.
World Cups,
Yeah,
and scored like 600 goals and got like 300 assists as well. Maradona, by most accounts, won the World Cup by himself.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
is I mean, I don't think his goal scoring and assisting stats are quite as impressive
It's
as the other
it's
three.
the thing is we do actually have Pele on this list, you know. Like we don't have Maradona or Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo,
Yeah,
like
Pele.
stats wise, is just a bit worse than Messi, and as a
Yeah.
player, he's just I don't think you can compare them to be honest.
The
Like, he's
reason we've
obviously
got Pele
unbelievable,
on
but
this list and not the other two,
pardon.
the reason why we've got Pele on this list and not the other two is because it's quite difficult to argue between Messi and Pele.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier to argue between Ronaldo and Messi.
Mm.
Like, it's a bit easy. I mean, it's a bit easier to compare.
Yeah, because
Same with
they're in this
Maradona.
generation.
But with Pele, there is something else. It's Pele was one of the first people to be, uh, like a big name in the sport. Him and his Brazilian team revolutionized football.
Yeah.
Won three World Cups. He was the
Yeah.
star. Um, I mean, I think he's up there on every goal scoring list you've fucking ever seen.
Yeah.
I think he's got the most assists of all time, ahead of Messi.
I
And
just,
obviously, I think Messi's got 315?
something like that. Yeah.
Messi, he's not far behind. Like Pele's got like 340, 350-ish, I think.
Mm.
But obviously, there's some debates, but we'll move past that. The other
Mm.
thing is, a lot of people criticise Pele for how he played in the Brazilian league.
Mm.
At the time, the Brazilian league was the better league. That was the league where all of the best players played.
I think it's just hard when you're looking at players who played in all sports when they did it so long ago.
Yeah,
When
and
like the competition was obviously not going to be as strong, but like that doesn't mean you can just discount them. Like they still
yeah,
did everything
and
they did.
arguably, so this is obviously, um, there's some discrepancies, but like, um, he's one of only two players to have ever scored in a World Cup final before he was 20.
Fucking hell.
The other one being Kylian Mbappe.
I
He won the silver ball at that World Cup before he was 20, by the way. He won the golden ball in 1970, which is his last one before he retired.
yeah.
And the Ballon d'Or, which obviously we mentioned that Messi had 6 of them, they went back, and because it used to be just European players, and they went back and awarded them to other people who might have won it if it wasn't just European players. And Maradona ended up with 2. Pele ended up with 7.
I do think, like, looking at this sports player, person, whatever debate, I think the only two I think the footballers that can go on it are Messi and Pele. I don't think. I just don't think you can argue Ronaldo is better than Messi. I know some people will, but I don't think he is. And Pele, I think Pele, because he was like a completely different era, the impact he had, the records, the World Cup. I guess some people can probably say Maradona too, but I don't know. It's tough. I think Messi and Pele are the two
Yeah.
for sure.
And the fact that Pele has gone on and been an ambassador for God knows how much, and you know, like, he was 17 when he won the World Cup. 17. 17.
Yeah,
So
I think he's
yeah,
definitely. I think they're both up there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Speaking of up there, next we'll move on from football. Okay, so as I was saying, next is Michael. We're looking at basketball next. Obviously the main guy, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
I think most people widely recognize him as the GOAT of basketball. You know, 6 championships out of 6 attempts, was the Finals MVP in all of them. League MVP 5 times, scoring champion 10 times, got a Defensive Player of the Year, 2 Olympic gold medals. And aside from all that, I think outside of basketball, like just the Jordan brand, you know, its estimated worth is 10 billion. The Jordan brand.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
he's made so much more from that brand than from his salary in the NBA. I just think if you
Jesus.
look at this list, I don't know. Like, is anyone? I mean, no one's obviously done what he's done, but I just think his impact is insane.
Yeah.
Like everyone wanted to be like Mike. His expression is. He's obviously got that Last Dance series, which I know so many people that love that never watch basketball. They don't even have a clue about basketball.
Yeah.
He's clearly like everyone knows who he is. I think he's definitely like a top contender to win this debate. To be honest,
Yes.
I just think he
I
ticks
think
every
that's,
box. Like athletic,
yeah.
freak,
He's got
one
a couple of
insanely dominant.
off-court controversies. There's a couple,
He does.
but they're not as
Um,
big as others, I would say.
I mean, what he
It's
had his
mainly around gambling, isn't it?
well, he had that skeptical gambling shit, but I don't know. It's not like he
And obviously there's the conspiracy theories around his retirement, but
around
we
his
won't get into
retirement.
that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, he won 3 in a row twice, and like
Yeah.
apart from that, it's only ever been done once, I think. Um,
I don't think so.
or twice,
I think it's
twice. I'm pretty sure it's
no.
twice.
I think
The
it's
Lakers
3.
did. The Lakers did it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that like in the early days, the Boston
Yeah.
Celtics won like 8 in a row.
Oh, back with Bill Russell.
Back with yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Um,
But that's a different era. Like winning 3 in a row now is good.
yeah, yeah, it's mental. Like the Warriors almost did it, but recently, but yeah, he did
Yeah,
it
and they're
twice,
still one of the
and
best teams ever.
yeah, and the 2 years in between his two three-peats, he'd retired. So it honestly would have been mental if like there's always the question if it stayed whether they'd have won eight or not. Which would imagine if they'd won eight in a row.
If they'd won eight in a row, he would be undoubtedly the best ever.
I
Like
just think like
undoubtedly.
I think the little controversy, like, cause they're little controversy, they kind of add to it in a way. Like
Yeah,
it's not like he beat anyone up or fucking, I don't know, sexually assaulted anyone.
yeah,
Um, I just think his reach is insane, and his impact is he like revolutionized the game. He won everything. He was just so
yeah.
dominant. I think.
And the other thing is like well, I saw somewhere that it's like the NBA was not in a good way
No. Well, it
when
was
he
just coming
started.
off the back of like the Magic and Bird era. Like them
Yeah,
two had dominated for so long, and they were sort of coming to the end of their careers. And
yeah,
the big teams were like Detroit, and they were just like scrappy. There's just fights all the time. And he sort of came in and they just dominated. So I think he's definitely up there. If you compare him to like I feel like he's got the achievements of everyone else on this list, but outside of it, or like it just the way he's like built this brand, and like the impact it's had on the sport, it's on another
yeah,
level.
yeah.
I'm trying to. We don't have any. There is a few other basketball players that I think you can make an argument for.
Yeah,
One being LeBron James. He's the
yeah,
sort of like the first. Well, not the first, but the first major like challenger to who the GOAT is. I guess Kobe, but I think no one really thought Kobe was really better than Michael. But LeBron's like his story is insane. Like he was like brought up really poor in Cleveland, single mother. He was like in high school he was the number one projected player at basketball and American football at his high school. Like he had to choose which one he wanted to do because he was the number one for them both. I'm not sure if it was in like his just in his school or in his like state or whatever. Obviously chose
Jesus.
basketball. Had like the most hype on him you've ever seen. Came into the league at 18, straight from high school, which like was rarely ever done. Um, Carried like an unbelievably bad Cleveland team to the playoffs. Carried them to the finals. His finals record is 4-6, which a lot of people. That's why a lot of people don't think he is the best. Like Michael was 6 out of 6, 6-0.
Yeah, but it's like
He
if you
got
look
to
at the
the
teams.
finals. He got to the finals. Like it was something daft. Like 10 years in a. He's got more finals appearances than nearly all the teams. Not
If
nearly
you
all.
look at if you look at what was I going to say? If you look at like the teams that he's played in the finals and the teams that he
Yeah.
had in the finals, then he's like he wasn't playing in a great team for a lot of them.
The thing is, a
Is
lot of
that
them he
right?
was, but like the ones he lost a few against the Warriors, but they're like an all-time team.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that Cleveland team that he was playing against the Warriors, and I think was that four. You had four, won one, lost three.
Yeah.
That Cleveland team was not like when you look back at it now, it was not that good. Besides him
Well,
and
it for a time they had like a decent three of him, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. But when you're playing Steph, Clay, Durant, like you're fucked. And there was obviously he won that one when the Warriors went 73-9, which was the best season, the best single season by a team in history.
yeah,
And then they went the Warriors went 3-1 up in the finals against LeBron's Cleveland, No one has ever come back from that deficit in a finals, and they did. Like that.
Yeah.
That's one of like the greatest like moments in the sport. Like he's gonna finish his career leading like the league in points. He's gonna be like top 10 in everything.
Is
Like
he not already like top 10
pr-
everything?
pretty much, yeah. He's high up in every category. Like I don't know. Like, I think the argument can be made. Like I don't think he is like better than Michael, but you know, he's definitely
Yeah.
got the argument there.
Yeah.
I just think 6 for 6 in the finals, 6 finals MVP. I can't think you can beat that.
No.
I don't think you can beat it.
Yeah.
So I think LeBron's up there, but I think Michael's gonna be in the top three, 100%.
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, anyway. You might disagree. I don't know.
Um, I'm inclined to agree. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
But like there is other basketball players you can make the argument for. Like I mean, Bill Russell won 11 rings. Like that's a joke, but
That's a fucking joke.
but that was so long ago. Like
11.
yeah, but in that
Fuck
era there was
me.
like there wasn't as many teams. They played less games. I can't remember. Like, and then there's Will Chamberlain, who's
I'm gonna let you just go off on this because this is a joke, right?
well, I don't really know. Like his stats are like you'll never see anything like it. Like he averaged over 50 points per game in a season. Not like no, the next highest Michael Jordan had one season averaging 37. He averaged over 50 in a season. He got 100. He had that obviously that 100-point game. The next
Yeah.
highest is Kobe's 81, I believe.
Yeah.
He, he once averaged 27 rebounds in a season, which it's just he's the only player in history to lead the league in points per game and rebounds per game, and he did it 6 times. The reason he's not in the reason he's not in the full discussion, I think part of the criteria for being the best sports player ever, you've got to have won a hell of a lot, not just individually, but as a team. Like Michael Jordan won 6 rings. Like everyone's won. Will won 2.
Right.
You
This
always
is the
wonder
thing, right?
why. Like, how?
How?
I don't. Honestly, like I can't remember what was he in the Bill Russell era? He might. Yeah, he might have been in the Bill Russell. I don't know. But
See, I heard a story about Wilt Chamberlain, and it was a mental story. I think it was when he was like 17 or something. So he basically wasn't old enough to play in a certain league or a certain game. So they made a fake identity for him, right? And got him to play in this game, and he fucking destroyed it. He wasn't even old enough to play in the game yet.
it's ridiculous. In like his second game in the NBA, he got like over 40 points and 40 rebounds. He's one of them. He's just one of them freaks. Like he was huge. He was over 7'4", but he has like one of the highest verticals there's been in history, and he could run 100 meters in under 11 seconds. And he's over 7'4".
Have you mentioned
Insane.
the quintuple double yet?
Well, it's not been proven,
50
but
points, 30 odd rebounds, 20 blocks, whatever it was.
like 20 odd assists and 20 odd 10, 15 steals or something. But that was before they tracked blocks and steals. So, and there's like he's not. You can kind of compare him to Pele in the way like a lot of these things they come out with. There's no proof of it anywhere. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt, I guess. But he's another one. If we were on about greatest athletes, like he'd be right up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's more just he's fun to look at the stats of, because
Yeah.
it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of very rogue calls for the debate now.
Okay.
So I'll start with one. Like this, this is a sport I am a fan of. Obviously, I'm aware it's not that a popular sport in the grand scheme. So I
Right.
understand he's not going to be up there. And if it was the greatest athlete of all time, he'd be below me and you. Um, and that's
Oh, I know where you're
Phil the
going with
Power,
this.
Phil the Power
Oh,
Taylor.
you know
Um,
what? You know what?
it's a
I
show,
was
isn't
thinking
it?
of him. I was thinking of him. I
It's a
was like, you know what?
show.
It is a shout. It is a shout.
He won
Because he won.
16 world championships. There's
That is
two people second have 5.
what?
Yeah, he's won 16 match plays. Like,
I knew he'd won. I knew he'd won 16 titles, but I didn't realize second was 5.
yeah, 2 people have
That's
5. I think Michael van Gerwen has 3. Like, there was a couple of years ago, people thought maybe Michael van Gerwen would catch him, but he's fallen off a bit. So, but yeah, like
that
he's
is
been in 92 major PDC. PDC is like the
yeah,
big like one. I'm describing it horribly, but he's been in 92 finals for major titles. He won 79 of them. Like
fucking hell.
in terms of like sports dominance, like he is right up there.
Yeah,
Um, he's just he was a joke. Like, and
yeah,
he for darts as well. He definitely made it a lot more popular than it was. Still,
yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
it's not like it's not huge, obviously, but like compared to the other sports, anyway, it's not huge. I get you. You can't put him high up on the list, but in terms of like dominance of a single sport, like he is up there for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the other one who came to mind, thinking of like pub games that are sports technically, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
I thought you were going to say that.
Like he when I was like obviously I had Phil in mind because I'm a darts fan, and then he popped into my head. I was like, oh shit, he's like he's not similar to Phil, but he's like proper dominant, isn't he? And has been
Yeah,
for years. But
yeah. He's
he's only won 6 world titles, but he's
yeah.
won the
Well, the
most ranking
the
events.
record's 7, isn't it? So,
Yeah, and
and he's made the most century breaks, made the most 147s
yeah.
as well.
Isn't couldn't he? At one point, wasn't he like the best in the world of his left hand or something? Something daft.
Yeah. Did he not get to like the final of the World Championship playing with his left hand?
He's ridiculous. Like,
Or something. No, because there was one, right? So making a 147 in snooker is like the best you can do
yeah,
in one frame. Yeah. And he, as a fucking protest, made a 146 because he didn't think the prize was big enough.
yeah,
That's a joke.
yeah. So like them two, they're not gonna be high on the list, like by a long way.
Yeah.
But I just thought they were worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think they're definitely worth a mention, yeah.
Yeah, because Phil as well is the goat of darts, obviously, and
Yeah,
his
yeah.
I don't know. I think like if you just look at the sport itself, forget about how big it is. You can compare him to like any of the others with what he won.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree, yeah.
Um, right, another one who I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a fucking clue about him. Babe Ruth, baseball player. Never watched baseball. I know he was a baseball player from like 1914 to 1935, so we're
Yeah.
talking
A
wartime.
long time ago, yes.
He won 7 World Series. He's like widely thought of the greatest hitter to ever play. There's like a couple. He's got a couple like Wilt kind of stats. He was the first player to hit 30 home runs in a season, and he was then the first player to hit 40. He was then the first player to hit 50, and then the first player to hit 60. He
In
has
the
over
same season.
yeah, he has over 700 home runs in his career. No one else has half of that.
Jesus
So like
Christ.
Yeah, like mental. I don't really know any. I'm not gonna pretend I know anything about him, but I think I think he's a lot of people put him up. Baseball fans put him up there, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
really. I'm not gonna try to talk about him because um don't really have anything to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Right, last one. Um, tennis. We've gone for
Yes.
Roger Federer as the guy.
Yes. We have. Or I have.
You have you've
um.
chosen. I'd agree though.
I've chosen.
Out of them, he's the one.
Um. So, I mean, where do you start, right? So, he's won. Um. I think he's won Wimbledon 8 times. Have a look. Yeah. So he's won. He's won Wimbledon 8 times. He's won the Australian Open 6 times. He's won the US Open 5 times, and he's won the French Open once. He has a win percentage in his career of 82%,
Yep, not bad.
um,
Not bad.
which is insane.
Yeah.
He also won an Olympic gold medal in doubles and a silver medal in singles, which he lost to Andy Murray. Fun fact for you.
Is he not on the
Um,
list?
No, because
Is he
Andy Murray
shite?
he only won 3. Obviously, to be fair, other what's the word?
Tennis
Other
players.
other tennis players that could be up
Jesus
there for
Christ.
this. Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, all 3 of them have won 20 Grand Slams, all tied at the top, all on 20, which is pretty insane when you think about the fact that they've basically been playing each other for all of them. Like, imagine if 2 of them weren't there and 1 of them just had that would be mental.
That would be ridiculous.
Um, but
But I've heard Djokovic say like he wouldn't be where he is without Federer,
I don't think any of them would be where they were
and that's
without.
why you put Federer above.
I,
Obviously, everyone
I
has their
think
like idols, but
Federer was the first one of them to come onto the scene, so you could argue that they didn't all have their primes at the same time, but Federer has the longevity. Like,
isn't he like nearly 40?
I think he is 40.
That's insane.
No, he's 39. In fact, he's 40 in 2 weeks.
Fucking hell.
But so he holds the record for most singles titles, most seasons with 2 singles titles, which he holds with Novak Djokovic, and most seasons with 3 singles titles, which he also holds with Novak Djokovic.
Christ.
He he's reached all 4 Grand Slams in the same season on the finals. The final of the Grand Slams, he's reached all 4 finals in the same season 3 times. Only person ever to do it.
Fucking hell.
He's reached 31 Grand Slam finals. Only person ever to do that. He reached the final of 10 consecutive Grand Slams. Only person ever to do that. Honestly, it's like he won 5 Wimbledons in a row. Right. Also, he also won 5 US Opens in a row.
Fucking hell.
It's a joke.
Where would you put him on the out of all of them?
What do you mean out of all of them?
Well,
Out of
like,
all of the,
not aside from the tennis players.
it's difficult, you know.
He does all like he kind of has everything, doesn't he?
I'd probably put him like top 5, maybe.
Because like he's clearly been so dominant. He's helped him like improve the quality of the fucking game.
Yeah.
Made it more popular. I don't know. Like tennis is massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's hard to compare like the individual sports to the team sports, but
Right. So I just want to put this out there. So between 2004, right, and 2007, right,
Mm.
He made the final of a Grand Slam 13 times. Out of a possible 16, he was in the final 13
That
times.
is mental.
Right? He won 11 of them,
Jesus.
right? And his overall record throughout those 4 years in Grand Slams alone
Yeah.
was 99 wins and 5 losses.
Fucking hell. That
Those 4 years, unmatchable.
Well, hang on. I was talking about Phil Taylor and
Yeah,
his 16 world championships.
yeah.
What was it? Fuck. There was something like out in a 12-year run, he won 11 of them.
Jesus Christ.
He came. Yeah, there it is. He won 11 out of 12 between 1994 and 2006,
Jesus
which I
Christ.
guess is kind of similar.
Yeah, but it's like,
But it's darts. It's just a fat man
And-
drinking, throwing darts at a board,
but
which is why it's so good.
you look at, if you just, like, obviously you can put out, like, you can put out Nadal, who's won 12 French Opens or whatever it is. I think Nadal is ultimately less impressive because he won, like, he's won the same amount, but Federer has won,
He's all on clay, isn't he?
yeah, Nadal's won like 13 or whatever it is. I don't know how many it is now, but most of his are at one tournament, whereas
Yeah.
Djokovic and Federer have won all of them.
Would you
Like,
put Djokovic
don't get me wrong.
on Nadal
Don't get me
on
wrong,
this
Nadal-
list?
I would be tempted to put Djokovic on the list. Nadal, it's difficult because Nadal.
Nadal's more popular, isn't it?
Yes, Nadal's probably more popular than Djokovic. I'd say they were both more popular than Djokovic. Djokovic is a popular guy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'd say Federer and Nadal were another level. I would probably say because it was them two for a good 5 years before Djokovic
Yeah.
came around. But like Nadal, I'm just looking at Nadal now. Nadal won the Australian Open once, Wimbledon twice, the US Open 4 times, and the French Open 13 times. Right? So, like, as much as it is impressive that he's won the French Open 13 times,
Oh, it's mental.
you could argue that, like, Federer's won 8 times, won 6 times, the other 5 times. Like, yes, he only won the French Open once, but
All
and
right,
also like, yeah.
I want to know who's number one.
No, we're going to start with 3.
Who we
We're trying to
crowning?
start at number 1.
Oh, we're going 3 first, right? And
We'll go 3, 2, 1.
I know
Or we're
my
going
1
5,
and
4,
2.
3, 2, 1.
Nah, 3. Just 3.
3. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm going to have to think about this.
I'm gonna go Phil Taylor. No.
Ronnie
Third.
O'Sullivan.
Oh, I know
No.
my 1 and 2. I know them. 3 is tough. 3 is really tough.
I know my 1 and 2. I'm not sure which order in though.
Who is third,
3.
man?
Who's
We
third?
really should have decided this before. We sat here for about
No, fuck it.
25 minutes.
No, I've got my 1, 2, 3.
Right, number 3. Who you going?
Tiger Woods.
Oh.
It was
Why?
a toss up. It was a toss up between him and Roger Federer, and because I just think that like the peak that those two reached, like even if it was just for like so, obviously Tiger got injured but the peak that those two reached, the sheer dominance that they had, like Tiger Woods, the only person ever to hold all 4 majors at the same time. The dominance they had over a sport is phenomenal. I believe they've both made. They're up there with the most amount of money ever made through sport alone.
I I don't know. I was thinking Federer at number three.
I was thinking Federer, but I'm just
I
more
think
on
I think
more
Federer,
on
like,
Vegas.
he's won everything, insanely dominant, really likable. He's not really had any sort of scandals or shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you could say Federer because of the
Um,
he's not
I, I
controversial.
I'm gonna go prime Federer, and if like
Actually, you know what?
that streak you were on about that Federer had as well. If we're talking like prime, like that,
You know
yeah,
what?
I'm putting Federer three.
I will say Federer because Federer, and this is what is doing it for me. Federer has always been the epitome of class.
Yeah, 100%.
Like he is, yeah, Federer three, yeah, Tiger Woods four,
Here you go, number
Federer
two.
three.
I wonder if our
Number
one and
two,
two are the same.
number two for me, and I know it's going to be your number one, is Michael Jordan.
Don't spoil it. I'm intrigued as to who your number one is now.
Right, okay. So my
But
number two is Michael Jordan.
my number two is Lionel Messi.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not my number one.
Messi's not in you. The thing is, right, for me, obviously football's like my favorite sport. I just what the like. I think just watching him play. That's all you need to
Okay.
make the argument. Aside from everything he's won, the dominance is. I just think he's just clearly so like unbelievable at the sport, so good to watch. Like
Yeah,
sports about like entertainment and like fucking joy or whatever, isn't it? And like
yeah.
enjoying what like I just think he epitomizes that. And he's like
This is the thing,
a
right?
nice guy, like a likable guy.
This is the thing. So, um, amuse me. Who is your number one?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Um, so the reason why I've put him number two
Mm.
is only because of his little tiny controversies. That is it, right? Because
Okay.
my number one is Muhammad Ali,
Okay. He was close to being third for me.
right?
Close to being third, but the reason he wasn't in, I just think, for me personally, obviously he was way before our time. I've I like boxing and fighting, and I watch it a lot more now. But like growing up, like I never, obviously I'd heard of his name. I don't know, it never affected me too much.
To me, Muhammad Ali is. I think he's still like, even though he was fighting 60 years ago,
Yeah,
he's still everything the boxer today, or any fighter. You could even argue Conor McGregor as well. He is what they are copying.
yeah, I guess.
He
Tyson
laid the
Fury.
blueprint, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He was world champion three different times. He won the Olympic gold medal. He had the perfect balance between the charisma you need, which Michael Jordan also had, and I was very close to putting Michael Jordan number one. But I think Michael
I'll tell you.
Michael Michael Jordan to me had a more commercial impact,
Yeah,
whereas Muhammad Ali had a bit more of a community impact.
for sure. Yeah, 100%.
He was better for just people, and
Yeah.
that for me tipped him over Michael. It was close. It was very close for me. Them two were clear in my head. They were like they're the top two, but I wasn't sure
Yeah.
which order I was putting them in.
See, for me, Michael Jordan, like, obviously everyone on this list, if you look at their stats in the sport, they're unreal.
Yeah,
Um, I just think, like, we're going greatest sports person of all time. So, like, obviously the social side of it and commercial side does come into it, but,
yeah,
like, at the root of it is who is the best sports person. And if you were in a game of anything, of like in whoever's sport, if you were in a game that you needed to win, like he is who you want on your team.
Oh yeah,
Like he will win the game. And on top of that, you've got his brand, his
yeah,
everything he's done, and I just think he'd be high up on the list of like the top athletes. He's on the
yeah,
list of the most successful. Like he's the clearly like the I think he's the richest
yeah.
sports
Probably.
person or whatever.
But
His
it's
impact, I
like,
think like you
but
can
we
make an
can.
argument for a few, but
Yeah. Well,
that's my
I'd say
opinion.
those five we've mentioned can be the top five then, can't they?
What Tiger, Roger, Mohammed,
Tiger, Federer, Messi, Muhammad Ali,
Messi.
Michael Jordan. They're the five.
Yeah, yeah, they are the five.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
after that, it gets fucking difficult because like,
I couldn't rank a
but
lot of them. I couldn't rank.
I couldn't rank a lot of them. Like Usain Bolt is a tough one to leave out.
I'm
Michael
not. I don't even
Phelps
want to
is a
look at
tough one
them.
to leave out.
I don't want to look at them. I don't want to think
Michael
about ranking them.
Schumacher, Tom Brady,
Nah,
difficult to leave
nah.
out. Um,
Uh,
yeah, but I would say for me, it's got to be like Muhammad Ali has to be up there.
yeah, he has to be up there. So does
Michael Jordan, like
my yeah. I think a lot of people do agree he's like the top, but obviously it depends on what's most important
yeah,
and shit like that. Obviously,
yeah,
they pretty much all have flaws.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But
so that's the list.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's a good podcast there, Danny.
It was all right.
It's all right. Yeah.
You can cut it
Suppose no
before
one's
this if you want.
suppose no one's listening. I guess. Yeah.
No one's gonna actually know who was top.
Yeah. Everyone's yeah. There'll be no yeah. No one's going to be
Yeah.
bothered.
The start was a little dry as well, so they um probably switched off straight away.
Anyway, so if you did reach the end and you liked it and you're still listening, um,
Yeah.
like, share, leave
Get
us a
it to
comment
10
if you want,
likes and Luke will show his
and
face.
you will, you
No,
can
no,
do
no,
that,
no.
and subscribe. Tell anyone else you want to
I'm just gonna end
subscribe.
it now, Luke. This is getting
Do
silly.
that. Go for it. See you
Bye.
later, guys.